Hi, I'm Wes Adams, and I'm the CEO of Visionary Gold Corp. We're an exciting new company that's exploring an Archean gold belt in Wyoming. We're very excited about our new Lewiston VIZ target that we're going to be drilling this summer. It's a 3-kilometer long shear zone that is showing high grades of gold up to 11.5 grams a ton and 4.5% copper along the structure. And we're really excited to be testing it this summer within a greater 50 square kilometer land package that we control. And we're going to be developing a lot of new prospects while we're drilling the Lewiston VIZ structure this summer. We're very excited about this potential, to be exploring a historic gold belt that has never been tested with modern methods.
Well, it's good to see you and good to meet you. We've not met or spoken before. Really keen to hear lots of news stories, see we can find the next big thing. And I appreciate you joining us today. So why don't we kick off and try and understand a little bit about you? What's your background? What have you done that's relevant to what you're doing today?
So I'm a third generation mining executive. I started my career down in South America in Guyana on the Turaparo Gold Project with a company called Sand Spring Resources. The Turaparo deposit we developed, made a grassroots discovery there. Built the resource up to 7 million ounces, which is now a reserve, and it's going to be taken into production by Gran Colombia Gold. So that was an interesting experience that I had as a young man, making discoveries in the middle of the jungle. I wanted to focus on something a little bit closer to home this time, which is just up the road from me in Wyoming. And so this opportunity to explore for higher grade gold closer to home in a very friendly mining jurisdiction like Wyoming, which produces a lot of the country's coal and oil and gas. It was just a tremendous opportunity. So I've kind of just jumped in with both feet into gold and base metals exploration in the Wyoming Craton, which is one of the most underexplored Archean gold belts in the country. So probably in North America as well.
Okay, so right, you've built companies up before. Okay, so that's good news. Can you just before we get into the Wyoming and the asset itself, can you just tell me about who else is involved with this? Who's again got relevant experience? Who's actually doing something, not just there as a nameplate?
Yeah, so we have a really strong group of directors and geologic experts that are on an advisory board for us. So that includes Mark Blythe, who's a geologist and an engineer. Mark was with. He's had a number of different successes. He's actually been doing some consulting on the Red Lake mine, and he started his career at Olympic Dam, and so he's had a number of successes. He was with Nevsun Resources as well, and then our another geologist on our board is Darren Lindsay, who is the VPX of Blue Star Gold. They're having a lot of success up in Nunavut. And he was really the one that found this opportunity for us. Another one of our directors is Drew Clark, who's VP of Corporate Dev for Metalla. So he gives us a strong Toronto presence and, has good relations with a lot of the institutions, which really helps me as a CEO when it comes to marketing. And so, as far as the geologists that support us, we have Pat Hillard, who was involved in the discovery of the Piarina deposit down in Peru, and then Gene Spearing, who was involved with. He was the VPX for Quaterra, and both of these guys started their careers in Wyoming, working on uranium projects, very close to where we're working today. So they have a really good idea of what's going on geologically in the area, and what we're focused on is a big structural corridor that cuts through Wyoming called the Oregon Trail Structural Belt, and so we're focused on that, and we think there's a ton of potential for a multitude of different types of deposits. But our focus is gold and copper in the Miner's Delight formation.
So big team there, and I'm sure they'll do different amounts of work at different times for you. Given it's where we $5-6 million company, right? And because we talk about sort of cash constrained ideas and action, because the stuff you want to do and the stuff that you can afford to do. And again, we'll get into that, but the projects start with an idea, a thought, a thesis about what it is that you could achieve here. So can you just lay that out for us? Because it may be a bit early to talk about business plans per se, but what are you chasing?
We want to find a large deposit, right? I think there's multi-million ounce potential in this district for gold deposits. I also think there's a ton of potential for large copper deposits. And, we're finding, interesting nickel occurrences. So our primary focus right now is to generate new projects, right? I think the upside is that we find a major deposit and we can develop that, right? And so,
but where does it start from, though, Wes? Right? Okay, everyone wants to make a discovery. That's the name of the game, right? And we'll get into mining sometimes. I get into production sometimes. But what's the big idea? What are you looking at geologically, or what data are you looking at that says, do you know what? This is the place we need to be. We've got a chance of success here because of what?
Well, when we look at the rocks in the Miner's Delight formation of Wyoming, what we see are a lot of similarities to the other Archean cratons within North America. So when you look at, I would say, the Slave Province in Canada, or the Abitibi in Canada as well, there's a lot of geologic similarities. You're looking at Archean sedimentary rock that is intruded by large granite plutons. And so, when the plutons come in, they fracture those rocks. There's big fault system along the edges of the plutons where they border the Miner's Delight formation. And the Miner's Delight is an Archean greywacke. It's a very brittle rock. It's been metamorphosed a lot. And so what happens is you get hydrothermal fluids that come in when these intrusions occur. And there's a high metal content in those. So we see, elevated gold, copper, bismuth, silver, tellurium, tungsten. And these, that's what has really led us closer to these big intrusive bodies, is that, we see stronger geochemistry along the margins. And so when you look at like the Cadillac Fault, for instance, in the Abitibi, that hosts, multi-million ounces, this may be, that type of a system up here, but it's never been explored with modern methods. So, we're the first company to go out and do a bunch of work in this area. And, it takes time to develop a district scale opportunity. We did some drilling last year at the Wolf Shear Zone, which is a little further away from the Pluton than we think we need to be this year. We had success, from a technical perspective. We hit gold in every hole. However, this year, we think we figured out, the structures that are going to contain, more consistent and higher grade mineralization. And those are closer to the intrusive body. And they have a much stronger geochemical signature to them. So we're going to be focused on drilling our new target, which is Lewiston VIZ, and that's a 3-kilometer long structure that we're really excited about. Regionally, we're also doing a bunch of generative exploration work. And so what that entails is soil sampling, right? We want to see if we can find these pathfinder minerals in other places along the margins of these plutons. And I think we have a tremendous amount of prospects that we're going to be announcing here shortly that we can talk about in the coming weeks and months. And these are things that we're going to be developing into our project pipeline as we're drilling off the Lewiston VIZ structure this year. We're also going to be doing some follow-up drilling on the Wolf target to test for additional mineralization there, and to try to explain, why we didn't have the results we wanted in the first drill program. We have high grades. We know there's grade within this structure. we think that distally there could be, higher grades, but in smaller pockets. So it's going to be hard targets to hit. So we're testing a few theories to see if we can get some better gold numbers out of the Wolf Shear this year. But we think that the Lewiston MIZ target is really going to be our primary focus.
Right. So explain this to me. I'm not here to dig you out. That we've never met before or spoken. I'm just intrigued by the process you're about to or have started, and we'll continue on, which is you had technical success, which is another way for saying it didn't work out. Okay. You found gold mineralization, but at levels that no one's going to care about. And when you put that release out on the 4th of February, market didn't like it at all because you weren't able to give numbers away, right? You went from, 12, 13 cents to, 7, 8 cents, right? Very, very quick. You recovered a little bit, I guess. What is this road? Because you get retail looking in and going, I don't know any better. I just expected, you to easily find these high grades. So there's a nice big straight line to huge future value creation. But what's the reality of what it's like? What's that journey like? Is that straight line a straight line?
No, there's going to be ups and downs when you're exploring a district that hasn't ever been drill tested, right? So we went out and we drilled what we thought was the biggest, best looking structure, and as we were drilling, we were also doing a bunch of field work, right, regionally to try to figure out and where the best mineralization in this district is, and where's the source. And so we think we found that this year. So, had we the same information that we have this year, we would have probably drilled the Lewiston MIZ target first, right? But generative exploration is a high risk, high reward game. We think that there's tremendous upside here, but it's going to take some time to develop a district scale opportunity. And it also, takes money. Fortunately for us, we have a very supportive group of shareholders. The management and board of directors has invested, personal money in this. I currently own more than 10% of the company, and I'm continuing to write checks because I believe that we're really onto something here in terms of a new district opportunity. And so with that, we're right now we have a low market cap, but I think that creates an opportunity to buy the stock when it's trading near its lows, right? And so I'm very excited about what we've got in front of us this year. We're starting the field season this year, and preparing for an exciting drill season.
But tell me this, Wes. Again, I'm just trying to understand the decision-making process here. It's like you did some drilling, you announced the drilling, market didn't care, you wasn't quite what you wanted. What does it tell you? It's not like it's a blank sheet of paper, it's no use to. It tells you what we need to be better at targeting. We need to do more work. We need to behave differently. We need to do more, mag surveys. What does it tell you, which means that allows you to be more efficient with future drilling, with future targeting?
Well, I think that you learn something every time you drill, right? You learn something every time you have a field program going on. So what we think we've learned is that we need to be closer to the intrusives. And
why? Why? What's the information that says that?
When you have intrusives come into an Archean sedimentary rock, they bring hydrothermal fluids with them, right? And so at a certain point, your gold and your heavy metals will drop out. And so, it's all about finding the sweet spot. Do you want to be further away from the intrusive? Does the gold drop out in that area? There's certainly, gold all across the craton. We see, gold, 15 kilometers away, 20 kilometers away, 1 kilometer away. And so there's a ton of gold in the system. We proved that with the drill program in the Wolf. We hit consistent mineralization. It just wasn't ore grade, right? So we know there's gold in the system. Where's the sweet spots, right? And so we think that moving closer to the intrusive is where most of the gold was deposited, and also where the copper was deposited. So I think those are going to be the most attractive structures, and we're going to be looking along the margins of these intrusives for orogenic gold with copper byproduct credits.
Right. Okay. So where are you with money today?
So we finished the season with about $1 million in the bank, and we're doing some work, staking some new claims. And so, our plan is to get started with the field season, and we'll be, raising money as needed for drilling. We have enough money to get started with that, but I always like to, keep the treasury full. Fortunately for us, I don't think, accessing capital is going to be that difficult because we have, the ability to write checks ourselves. We also have a very, strong group of shareholders. So I think going forward, I'm not as concerned about that. What I am concerned about is not diluting my shareholders. And so, we had a lot of people gave us money just recently, a year ago at 18 cents, and I want them to make a profit as well. And I think there's a tremendous opportunity for new shareholders to come in, now that we're a little beaten up, the whole market's down, and, we're sitting here at 8 cents. But when you look at the project, it's a much more compelling opportunity this year. We've identified multiple targets. Last year we had one, right? And so I think, you have to look at this as, we have a much higher chance for success in 2022 than we did last year. And, we did a limited drill program. This year we're going to do, much more than that, right? And, when you look at where we're trading today, when you put a company like ours in the context of, hey, we're going to make a discovery, it really doesn't matter if you're 5 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents when you get in. The stock's going to go up if you make a major discovery, and that's what we're after.
Yeah, making discoveries is easier said than done, right? So targets are not discoveries. So what? Just give me the logic, because if I'm sitting here as whether it be a shareholder or wannabe shareholder, and I believe you that it's cheap because your thesis is a good one. Why is it so much better that you've got all of these targets this year versus last year? Because last year's target didn't work out so well. So having more targets doesn't guarantee success. It just says you've got more things that you're looking at. So what do I need to know? Well,
success is never guaranteed when you're looking at an exploration company, right? Only the geology, is what can create a success, right? The mineralization's either there, it's not. The only way to find out is drilling. So it's a high risk game, but it's also comes with tremendous upside. I follow the guys from Seabridge Gold pretty closely, and so when you have success and you make big discoveries, right, there's a store of value there, especially for North American gold and copper assets, right? You make the discovery, it takes time to develop, but because of the jurisdiction that you're in and because of potential for high asset quality, you can be a tremendous store of value even as an exploration company, right, and a developer. And so I think that there's a big opportunity here to untap the potential of the least explored Archean craton in North America. If you look at the other provinces, the Slave Province, the Abitibi, all of the Canadian equivalents have been, there's been hundreds of million ounces discovered there, and in Wyoming we have one development project at the Copper King, which a guy by the name of George B is running, who is on our board at Sandspring. They're in a feasibility stage right now on a 1.5 million ounce deposit. So we know there's gold in this craton, right? If you look up at Stillwater, you've got tremendous potential for precious and base metals. That's in the Wyoming craton. And then just down the road from us, there's been a 500,000 ounce epithermal deposit discovered. So we're in a target rich environment here. And I think we've got the potential to really unlock a district scale opportunity. So that's the upside. It does take time, right? And success is not guaranteed. However, I think we're onto something here. We see the potential, and this year we're going to be testing it with the drill bit, and we have a number of targets that we're going to be testing, not just one. So I think our chances for success are much higher this year.
Okay, you raised just over $3.5 million last year, back in May. You're down to $1 million now. You're going to need to raise some money. You can get going, but you're going to need to raise some money to deliver a drill program. I mean, what type of drill program are you talking about? You just reported a drill program back in February. How many meters? How many dollars? Therefore, what's the raise look like?
Yeah, so we'd like to have about $1 million for direct drill costs this year, and then we're going to probably spend another $500,000 to $1 million in exploration work. So we try to do as much in-house as possible on the exploration side. We try to be efficient. We really don't have any overhead as a company, so I don't actually pay myself. I've been in the business long enough that you make money when you have a big success, right? And so what I've done is just invested personally in the company because I believe we're going to be onto something. And to be honest, it's with the exploration business. If you have a junior, right, you always are going to stay invested in that, right? Because you end up owning a large percentage of the shares. So I'm aligned with my shareholders' interests, right? I'm not in it for a paycheck. I'm in it for a discovery. And that's the way the rest of our team feels as well, right?